When's the last time you read the comment section of a social media post or video? Chances are, a ton of the comments were posted by millennials. That's because we're not shy about sharing our opinions, especially online. Coming up, we talk about anything and everything that's currently on our minds. The I Wish You Knew Cafe is open. Buckle up, y'all. We're freestyling today's conversation. That's right, there are no pre-selected topics, and we have absolutely no idea what might come out of each other's mouths. Before we get started, let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Letitia.
I'm Will.
Christina.
I'm Philip.
And Mia.
I'm Adrienne.
And I'm Kiera. So, what do we want people to know, guys? Because I want to vent. So what's up?
First of all, shout out to Kiera's shoes. They're super lit.
But wait, she has number two.
Shout out to her.
Nah, so are me.
I wish people knew how amazing
And her
those
pants,
shoes were.
yeah, for real.
So
Jeez.
fashion. Okay.
I do.
What's up, A?
Oh, well, I wish everyone knew that #NotAllMillennials believe in horoscopes. I think it's all nonsense, and I want to hear what you all think about it.
Oh wait, I am a firm believer of horoscope. I'm sorry,
I wish everyone
I'm
knew
a
that
firm
that doesn't
believer.
make sense to me. So it's whatever.
Look, I kind of like take any and everything back to a horoscope sometimes when it comes to like relationships, because you know, sometimes I'm like, am I really that way? Because I'm an Aquarius, of course, so we're the best. And you know, we're the best.
Pisces.
Throw this water on you.
Team Pisces, what's up, Rihanna?
I mean, we got a lot of Aquariuses. Oprah is an Aquarius.
Well,
And
Beyonce
Riri
is
is
a
a
Virgo.
We're not talking about Riri. We talking about
Wait,
Oprah.
what are we doing here?
We talking about Oprah. She's an Aquarius. That's what we talking about.
We listening?
Do you guys, Philip? Do you believe in horoscopes? Like you seem.
Wow, really, Adrienne?
You're like, I don't know. Do you believe it?
Yeah,
You never told
I'm
me.
playing.
You've never told me.
Do you?
I think it's interesting. I think like.
He's not saying no, you guys.
I think that there are a lot of interesting coincidences. I think that, you know, if you look at history, people have looked at the stars for a long time, and there are certain things that do seem to be, you know, that do seem to make sense.
Okay.
About like, but I think like it's like general stuff. I think, you know, when you start taking it to, you know, when you start applying it to, you know, your real life situations. Every
So
day
does
is, like, when
everyone
it kinda
think that
gets
they
tricky.
fit their sign?
I do.
I do, but it doesn't. None of it is real.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Because I'm a
totally
Gemini.
Leo.
So
Oh, okay, cool.
I think everyone has multiple personalities, if you ask me.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, I-
with,
How many you got?
horoscopes, it can be so vague, and I think like because there's different types of astrology, and we have Western astrology, which is what most of us know now, which is to me is too vague. But there's another form which is called Vedic astrology, and that gives you like a exact, like direct, like specific attributes to your sign. Because, and also if you want like, you know, information that's not so vague, but you want exact information, some people tend to go towards numerology, where you put in the time you were born and not just your birth date, but the time you were born and how old you are and your name and this, that, and the third, and it kind of gives you,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and it gives you like a whole list of everything, like
Social
everything you're gonna
Security
go
number.
through for like a 7-year period, like cycle, you know.
I
So
just rather do 23andMe.
it's a lot. But
That's new.
it's
Get
good.
my health
It's like a guide.
assessment and my DNA and all that stuff. That'll tell me more
Yeah,
about
I wanna do
myself
that.
than
I've
I've seen
astrology.
those
will.
apps that
What do you mean?
you look on the daily thing and it gives you like a hope for the future, or it'd be like, oh, today something's
you'll
going
be
to come your way.
experiencing
You're going to
it.
have an obstacle. You're going to overcome it. But does that give you that hope, or does it give you like for the future that's going to come and like look to that, or is like, are you going to make your decisions based on this app, or like telling you things that are just random, just like a fortune cookie?
That's a good point.
You know, like how.
But the dude just won a lottery from
Based
his
on-
fortune cookie
Oh,
numbers.
That is true. Yeah.
Now I
What
need
a
to start
coinky
saving
dink.
mine. I need to start saving mine every time I order out. I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I think it's interesting how you know, like finding like a practical application for it. So it's like okay, like dating, like compatibility or something like that. That's when, for me, when
That I
it
do-
becomes
that-
It
like,
does,
that way
because
you
it
never
says,
got
I will
to-
never
Yo,
date
but
another
it
Scorpio.
gets like, it gets, yo, but it gets tricky. It gets tricky when you're like, when you're looking at it like, we have these things like, yeah, like tends to be optimistic or whatever. Like that's everyone.
Right.
You know? We all, like
Or
you're
it
saying, we
can
all have
be.
moments
Like to
that
be
are like
spontaneous.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the
It's like,
general part.
like that's everyone. Like Will was
What's
just saying,
everybody's
like
sign?
people do have multiple.
Yeah, so I'm an
personalities.
Aquarius, you know, the best sign. But y'all can go ahead and tell.
Well,
I'm a
what
Leo.
signs are.
I'm a Pisces.
I'm a Leo.
Leo. Hi, Leo.
Yeah, me too, man.
So I don't know what
No,
any
I'm
of
a
these
Leo.
things means. I just know that like Scorpios are supposed to be like freaks or something like that. So I'm like, stay away.
I mean, yeah.
I'm
So
a
you're a
Pisces.
Scorpio?
I'm a Gemini.
No, I'm a
Shout out
Virgo.
to my Pisces.
Gemini, Virgo.
Okay.
Sex, yes, please.
You gotta watch out for Gemini.
But then they just find another sign,
that
and
just
so and it
changed.
kind of threw
it's
things
another
off.
sign?
Yes,
Yeah,
they
there's another
changed it.
sign, so it kind of.
So technically, you're
if
not
you used to
whatever.
be something else,
you're
you
not
may
Aquarius.
not be it anymore
I'm an
because
Aquarius.
of
That's
the-
why I say Vedic astrology gives you like a deeper sense of, you know, meaning versus Western astrology is astrology that we all are used to, and the astrology that we're told to stay away from, and from people who are religious and stuff. And with Western astrology,
Yeah.
Vedic.
Have you guys heard about
It's called Vedic astrology.
animal cards? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, so it's like people on the east side of the earth, you know.
Whoa.
They study mostly Vedic astrology, like
What
the
is that?
Chinese
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
astrology
Can you-
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Can you break that down? And also, I wanted to ask you what numerology is, like specifically. You were saying it's like somebody's
I can't
age.
give you, like, a
it's like a
definition of
seven.
what it means,
Well, not just
but-
like an overview.
Is it like
Just
cards?
like a
Is it like
general
cards?
There's like
idea
a
of, what the
geometric
difference is
design
between that
using
and
numbers.
astrology.
So basically, like even in religion, you can kind of, for example, Einstein and Tesla. What's it? His name was Tesla, right? And his 369.
Elon Musk.
Which,
Elon Musk developed. Yeah.
Okay,
You talking
so
about-
369
He developed the Tesla. Or are you talking about
the actual
just
guy
something
named
else?
Tesla.
Oh.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
actually
there's the
named-
actual guy named
Yeah,
I'm learning something new, 'cause I
Tesla.
didn't
Look him
know.
up, Tesla 369. So he says that there's a
6ix9ine Mafia?
there's a there's a geometric coding
But wait,
for the universe
I don't want to
using
miss
numbers.
This. I don't want to miss
You
it.
can
I
basically
don't wanna
crack
miss
any
it.
code using numbers just like you can using words. That's
Right.
all.
Okay.
That's
but
all.
look,
Word.
I don't want to miss this though.
Oh,
so
I'm
hold
sorry.
that thought. It's okay, but hold that thought. We got to take a break. Stay with us. I wish you knew. We'll be right back. Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. Now, Letitia, I told you I didn't want to miss what you were saying. So, what's something you wish people knew?
Something I wish people knew was that, you know, I wish people knew about the misconceptions of being a veteran or being in the military in general. I'm an Army veteran, and, you know, a lot of times I tell people when I was in the Army, if I told them I was in the Army or even tell them I'm a veteran, oh, you got a lot of money.
Yeah. That's
What?
a fact.
No, like it's a ranking structure, just like everything else. It's chain of command, just like in the corporate world, just like any job you have, and you have to work your way up. I was an E1, which is the bottom of the barrel. No, I was an E3, but still, my paychecks was small. So you know, unless I was E8 or above, or a officer or warrant officer or general or something, you're making the same amount of money as everyone else, you know. And I don't know if anyone knows the median for DC, but I think the median that people make is like what, 40,000. You know, that's the average median.
About that.
41,000,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, that's the average
In this
median.
area.
But don't,
Yeah.
but don't you receive a whole host of benefits that kind of offset some of that? And it's just a question
that's-
because there's housing, from what I know, or
Depends
I think I know, the
depends
housing.
on where your orders are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have housing and then a whole bunch of benefits that you get just for discounts
So,
just for being military.
A lot of veterans and a lot of people in militaries, it's their unit's job to make sure that the soldiers have the information they have. Soldiers do not get the information. I did not know what I was entitled
Right.
to until years after I got out of the military, for one. And for two, different branches get get different resources. So for me, I was in National Guard, which is considered the reserves, and they don't even consider us the real military.
Right, I was a reserve.
They call us weekend warriors, you know, even though we go to the same boot camp as everyone else, and you know, but
Well, the difference is that there was a time when, if you were in the National Guard, you wouldn't be called up to deploy. But because we've been at war since like 1992, starting with Desert Storm up to now, we've literally been at wartime. We probably haven't been in peacetime during anyone's lifetime here.
Right.
You know, and so and so now, you know, because of the fact that the numbers have gone down in the military, they've had to activate National Guards and reservists, but yeah, before, you know, they weren't considered to be real military, you know, like I went through. So you graduated high school and went into the military, whereas I went to college and I was Army ROTC. So I was
you were
an
able to be an officer. So
Right.
because he went to college, he was automatically able to be a higher rank. You know.
So
Well,
there's this whole misconception.
if it is true that there are all these resources made available for Army vets,
They make it hard.
why is
for
it
you.
why is it that so many Army vets seem to end up homeless?
So let me tell you, it doesn't feel like veterans are honestly cared for. You know, the military, the soldiers itself are taken care of, but I really would like to shed some light on veterans. When you get out of the military, it's just like, oh, bye. And if you don't take the initiative, or if you don't know what you're entitled to, you know what I mean? Just like, even besides the military, just as a minority, did you know minority women are entitled to a grant just because you're a woman and you're a minority? Most people don't even know that. So it's really just a lack of knowledge in general, not just the military, but the world. You know what I'm saying? That's why it is important to, you know, be a little self-taught or
That's what I was gonna
self-seek.
say. Are we
Yeah.
expecting?
Seek out.
Are we expecting
yeah.
people to tell us?
Yeah,
about
but that's how it
benefits,
is with
or
everything,
Are we
from
Are we being
education to
accountable for
religion.
ourselves?
Well, like she
Be
said,
accountable
well,
for
like she
your
said
own
before,
knowledge.
It's
and
really
lack of knowledge.
it's the military's
It's not just the
job.
military. It's religion.
but
It's education.
But it's the
like
military's
we
job
get
to
secondhand
inform.
information instead of
Right.
going out and getting the information, finding information. You know, I didn't become
Also,
inquisitive
we're getting
until I got
fabricated
older.
information.
But here's the thing, you know, these kids, literally kids, like, you know, you're going to the military. Some of them are 17, approaching 18. They may spend their 4 years in the military, and they're out by the time they're 25.
Right.
So if you weren't in the military and you had an MOS that actually gave you a skill
MOS?
to come out
Yeah,
of,
what's
it's like your military occupation.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what your job in the military?
Gotcha.
And most people's job in the military, you know, you have some people who are actually frontline fighters, but everyone else in the military, most people in the military are support.
Right.
They support
Correct.
in one way
I
or
was
another.
too.
So it's like, you know, it's almost like a whole civilization in of its own.
Not
everyone has a
gets
job.
deployed either.
Yeah, not everyone gets
Not
deployed.
everyone
And not
killing
everyone
people
comes
that
out
never
has
seen anything crazy.
a transferable skill. I mean, you do have transferable skills because, you know, but at the same time it may not correlate with that particular job. And as a staffing professional, the problem that I have is the fact that the military doesn't prepare their soldiers to
life
come out
after.
for life after the military.
You know,
and it's from everything. The simplest is writing a resume, or how to transfer the skills that you have from the military into civilian speak, so that people who are not military can actually read your resume and understand what you did, how you did it, and determine whether or not the skills that you have can do the job.
And that's exactly my issue. That's my primary issue with the military, is because it's packaged as though you're going out into the world fighting for your country, but in reality, you're fighting for corporate interests, right?
Government mission, they
And
won't tell
exactly,
you about.
and then
Well, they used to do that.
As soon as
They-
you're done, as soon as you come back home, you're treated like you never mattered.
Right. They used to
So it's like-
advertise the military as a career.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you remember the old commercials, it was, you know, you come out and you can have this job or that job.
Yeah.
But since we've been at war for so long, they don't do that anymore.
Right.
You know, they used to advertise, ooh, the GI Bill, you can go to college, you go to the
Yes.
military and then go to
Yes.
college.
I
They don't
remember
do
that.
that anymore
Right.
because they know that that's not really what
I
they're
also
trying to
think
sell from the
Is a
military.
different experience for people of color versus.
Oh, definitely.
Because I mean, the military is the first gang. Like before all the gangs, there was the military. There's the United
I
States
mean, before
government.
that, there's banks. There's
The
banks.
United
Yeah.
States
You know
government
what I'm
is the
saying?
biggest
Like,
gang in the world.
Right, but
You
like
know?
there's there's the military
Or in the
industrial
country.
complex, right? So who funds that? The banks, you know. So my whole thing is like you're going out into the world fighting for these agendas that aren't.
don't even know about.
You don't even know what
Yeah, you don't know what
And
you're
like you
buying.
The motto
just
is
said,
shut up
like
and
you just
listen.
said, like you
That's the
just said,
motto.
it's packaged like, you know,
Hurry
to
up and wait.
specific groups of people in different ways. You know, you might be being sold, you know, like this whole idea of going out into the world, having the opportunity to go out into the world and travel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like you said,
That's
like,
not a
it's like,
guarantee.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's the thing
You
about the
continue-
I never-
continuously-
I
never went anywhere.
And then
I never went anywhere.
say you do happen to be active duty and you do like, you know, experience war of some sort. It's like mentally, how do people deal with that? And just going back to that original question about, you know, like the resources that are offered and like why people end up, if there are all these resources and programs and it is such a solid,
We don't know about
safe thing to do or whatever, it's like, why are all these people ending up on the street and then, you know, and being
It
like
took me-
categorized, like, you know, like generally categorized as like being crazy and all these
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things.
And there are a
Mental
lot
health
of
is like,
people.
yo,
Crazy.
like, no,
Let me
So
tell y'all
guys,
something.
Look,
Oh.
I wish y'all knew that we have to save this conversation. I'm
Word.
so sorry. Guys. We need to take a
Into
quick
it.
break, but we'll be right back with this conversation when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. So guys, what juicy topics are we still talking about?
Let's talk about the federal government and how they exploit us all the time.
Exploit who?
And so we're talking
Ew,
about, okay,
trying to
so
get
so
deep.
more specifically, right? More specifically, we were just talking about the cannabis industry, right? And like how that's like such like a big thing.
Yeah.
Cannabis has been used for years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. I'm not even sure like the exact timeline. But it came from the East. Like, I think it was like originally found in Asia, and it's been used as a healing, as a medicine, as a
But we
medicinal
gotta look
thing.
at how it's perceived today. Not to say that that's
No,
gonna
go
sway
on.
anyone away from, you know, doing what they do, because you know, people gonna do what they do, you know, whether or not they want to do it or not. So, but also the fact that it's, you know, you don't know where it's coming from. So you have people who are receiving certain things from outside sources, and it's like you don't.
That's not true.
you
I know where mine's
honestly-
coming from.
Okay,
It's
but
coming from my homeboys,
first of all,
guys.
we gotta-
Well, that's why it's
we gotta
important.
think- we gotta think outside
But that's why
of
it's
our
important to
personal
regulate it.
experience.
That's why we need
why it should be
regulation.
regulated.
So that-
But that's the type of thing a government tries
But
to
they
tell
said the
you.
same thing about
Government
they
tries to
said
tell
the
you.
same thing.
Alcohol.
They said the same thing through prohibition.
Exactly.
They talked about alcohol, and I think alcohol is killed way
It's
more.
dangerous.
Bro, alcohol is
mean
the
when the
most
government
dangerous
gets involved?
drug
of course.
out there.
And nicotine.
And if another
Well, not
interesting
nicotine
thing is
itself,
that
but
like
the
all these
chemicals
other
in cigarettes.
symptoms, all these other poisonous symptoms that all these other habits that we pick up like smoking, all these things are triggered by alcohol. And,
But I just hate the fact.
it's-
Shout out
I
to
hate
all the
like
tea
so many of
peddlers.
these other
But
things.
wait,
You know what I'm
brought
saying?
up
Like,
because of our generation.
That's
Like,
what
what
I'm
does our
saying.
generation bring into like alcohol or cannabis? So like what factor do we play in this of saying like regulation, providing, you know, it's like safe comfort for it? Or,
I think
you know,
I think it's the stigma has gone away.
okay.
Shout out to
You know, and I
Facebook,
think.
But
Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg, and social media.
No, because now we have
Bob Marley, bro.
And now that
Oh,
corporations
yeah,
can
Bob Marley.
have found a way to monetize it, then that's
Bob Marley.
You
man.
see,
That's-
you see
that's the
how,
difference.
how big CBD is.
Yeah.
It's in stores, it's in
Yeah.
drinks, it's in waters, and
Yeah.
it's completely legal.
I give my
And
cat
the
CBD
medicinal-
because
It's the
she's an anxious
element.
mess.
Right.
And it's
Too,
safe
like
for pets.
Tourette's
Right.
and
She doesn't like the taste of it, but
Yeah, it
Makes her
I
itch
tried. It
less.
doesn't really taste great.
And the effects
What?
on seizures. and
Nobody likes
all
the taste
people with
of
seizures.
I'm about to say, nobody likes
the CBD oil. I'm talking about.
You know, some people use like the oil or cannabis for people who have seizures, and it like immediately calms them, and you know, like those are some,
100%. There's definitely
like, you know, I feel as
Some of
though
the
if you're using it for
benefits.
recreational use, okay, cool, do what you want to do. But if you're able to still take care of your responsibilities and do what you want to do, then fuck it.
Yeah.
The drug
But
is.
I don't
It's
like the
another
fact
great-
that-
it's another
I
great
don't like-
example
hold on,
of
But I
how-
don't like the fact that a lot of, I'm sorry, and I have to express this because it's dear to my heart. I don't like the fact that a lot of teens and a lot of kids that are like 8 years old are dependent upon this. You get what I'm trying to say?
I don't know if
I
that's
wish I
scientifically
would see an
proven.
8-year-old
Trust
smoking
me.
some
Trust
Like
and
smoking?
believe.
How
Yes,
about the Juul?
I don't like
Is
the
the
fact
Juul-
that people are
Oh, there's
dependent
other-
upon it.
And then
Like,
there's
you
that.
need it.
That's
Like,
so
that's why
weird.
where you
Smoking-
can't
smoking-
function.
smoking weed?
Yes, they can't
Oh,
function.
Too much
Let's
of
real
a good
talk
thing
about it.
always,
No,
that
I mean-
always happens. So
No,
that's
that's
why I say
real.
you gotta. Recreational use is like overconsumption, overindulgence.
Yeah,
That's what we
I
do
mean,
with
they tell
everything.
women. They tell women
We do
not
that
to.
with everything.
They
but
tell
using
women not to
it-
smoke when
we
they're pregnant. They
overdrink.
tell you to do
People are
lots of
addicted
things.
to
in that. So you
coffee.
shouldn't be doing anything when you're
And
pregnant.
also,
It's gonna
like,
affect your
addicted
kids.
we're
to
talking about
coffee,
dependence.
y'all.
Like,
Like, come
so
on.
people are dependent on insulin. People are dependent on. I'm dependent on antidepressant,
People are
anti-anxiety.
dependent on
I'm
sex.
dependent
And some
on.
people would rather smoke weed
Smoke weed
than
than
take
mess up
antidepressants.
their brain
There
chemistry.
You
are-
have to have
Function,
control,
guys.
self
To the point where they
control.
can't
Right.
function.
And
That's
I
that's-
can't
and that's
function
fair,
if I'm
but-
not on my
I feel like it
antidepressant.
starts
There
with
are
self-control,
far worse
because if you don't
things
have
than-
self-control,
than
it's gonna-
smoking marijuana. Or then consuming marijuana. You know, it might not necessarily just be smoking it. I'm
Because an
just
addict
saying.
is an addict no matter
So
what. it
and
is.
also let's bring
Yeah,
science
addict
into
is
this
an
again. Like this is like there's so much in about this topic. It's like first of all, it's one of the biggest cash crops in the world, right? So obviously
porn.
like there are all these different interests, special interests within this topic about this topic. So you were just talking about like children, like an issue of cocaine. Like obviously that's a problem, but
Exactly. But
Scientific,
don't say it like that, though.
scientifically,
Don't say it. You talking about
Obviously,
that's a problem.
okay, what I'm saying
I'm
though.
feeling it.
I mean,
today.
okay, yeah,
Every,
like
we
kids-
medicate kids all the
kids, like,
time.
you know,
Yeah.
kids
We got kids on
Wait,
Ritalin.
hold
We
on.
put on
You got kids
lithium.
something
No,
she
because
was-
because it's like
My
I
bad.
feel like there's some contradictions being thrown out here. Because if we're talking about the healing properties of marijuana, and if a
Exactly.
child has a need for
Kids
a
should
healing,
not be
Talking about
smoking
like
marijuana.
use.
but that's what I'm
Like-
saying. But that's what I'm saying. What
But a
I'm
lot of
saying
times-
is recreational use and using
Versus-
it like, for medicinal
Yes.
purposes are completely two different things.
exactly.
So if we're saying that it's okay for medicinal purposes, that's different. When we're talking about being an addict and depending on it and it affecting you operating
Everyday life.
in life, then
I mean, even medically, we shouldn't be giving it to kids. I mean, until
Yeah, you
your
shouldn't
brain
be
is
giving
fully
anything
developed.
to kids who are
that's-
developing.
I mean, you
That's
have
true.
kids. We're giving kids with severe ADHD
true.
like
That is
lithium,
true.
and that will make that
Oh,
they
yeah.
will not grow to their full potential. They could have learning disabilities in the long run.
Right. Ritalin.
I mean, that's terrible.
So
too.
do you
It's
think? So
terrible.
do you think that that
helps them.
marijuana, like giving a child marijuana, would be better than giving them?
No.
if it's a
those other-
medicinal
we
form,
shouldn't-
depending upon
it's
what
the
their
developing
ailment
brain.
So then they
was.
shouldn't have Ritalin or
And if
any
it
other
was
types of
scientifically
medication
proven.
either.
But at the same time, that's a good point, right?
All
Because
pills.
I
you
mean,
want them to have a
That's the-
good quality
no,
of life
that's
at
like-
the sacrifice of what?
I've seen-
Like Adderall, Ritalin.
I've
that's
seen
like-
kids on
was
Ritalin
it, like,
and Adderall, and they might as well
You
have
got- you
kids
can't
on
just
Ritalin
be
might as well have been smoking a joint
contradiction.
because they
They're
literally
totally sedated,
are
yeah.
comatose.
Right. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Like
My dad
what's the
gave me,
what's the
like,
process?
beer when I was,
What's
like,
the process
6,
of
and
even introducing it
I don't
to
drink beer
children?
now, so-
Right?
I don't even know.
So like everyone
Maybe
has
we
different
should-
brain
recreationally?
control.
No.
No, it wouldn't be very. No, it's
Yeah.
it's medicinal.
They're
Right,
families. That's how I was introduced.
exposed to it
Yeah, they're exposed. Like you have mothers who are sitting around their kids who are
No, it's true.
smoking.
Absolutely.
Like, so
That's
I-
true.
But that's a
We also have mothers. We also have
different-
mothers that are sitting around their kids drinking,
Right.
or
and-
popping pills,
Exactly.
And smoking
I'm not
cigarettes.
shooting- I'm not setting that aside either.
Right.
You've got an opioid
Right.
epidemic right now epidemic that we call it now. You know,
Yeah.
And that's very scary to see a lot of. It's crazy. So a lot of young white people homeless. You know, like just on the street, and it's crazy because it's like you can get a job. You know what I mean? Like it's like there are real people that struggle. There's black people. It's harder to get jobs for minorities. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're sitting
Tell me
there
about
and
it.
you're like, you have an option. You have a choice. And you have resources that are available for you to get out of that.
I'm a
anyway,
veteran, and it's
Right.
still hard to get a job.
Yeah.
Shit.
So yeah.
right. Well, I wanted to go
Sorry.
into. You mentioned the Juul.
I did. So for younger generations, you just see kids these days either like hiding it in their purse, and
Right.
I don't know how it's becoming so available to them.
It's
Even
no
It's
different.
marketed towards
it's
them,
no
though.
different than
Right.
the kids
It's
in my
like-
high school who were smoking on the corner.
Exactly.
Like, it's no
It's
different.
just-
Yeah, exactly.
But what, like
It's just
the
not a pack of
Juul, like
cigarettes.
what is, like it's nicotine, of course, but like why are they so becoming dependency? You were talking about dependency before. Like they're just becoming dependent on different substances. That's just like, why are
It's
you?
the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just a smoke. It's just not you're not
Will,
taking in the
guess
same
what?
chemicals as a cigarette.
I wish
come
we
on,
could finish our
again.
conversation. It's again. I'm so sorry, guys. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for watching. I wish you knew. See you next time.